Want to know my thoughts on one of the overused name roller coasters out there, Goliath? Well, stay tuned for this coaster review because I know you guys will enjoy this. So, Goliath is an RMC wooden roller coaster, is an almighty wooden roller coaster at Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois. This is a fantastic roller coaster, but what are my thoughts on it? Is it one of my favorite roller coasters out there? Find out here. So first up, we are going to rate the scales of 1 to 10 for each category, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Now, there's no 0, and there's nothing higher than a 10. So, without further ado, let's begin. So first up, we have the height, and Goliath's height is 165 feet. Now, this is where it becomes kind of confusing, because Goliath has a bigger drop than a taller lift, than the lift hill. It's because it goes kind of underground inside a tunnel, I guess you can say. So it's like 15 feet underground you go. And it is a big drop. So the height though, the lift hill is 165 feet. And usually I'm the one to go by the height. But I'm going to go by the drop for this since that's the biggest point. And we are going to be giving Goliath a 7 for this height. It is a very tall wooden roller coaster, and according to measures, it is the tallest wooden roller coaster out there. But not technically, considering there are taller wooden roller coaster lift hills out there like El Toro, Lightning Rod. However, Goliath has a bigger drop than those two. So that's why I'm going to measure it as for the tallest point of the drop and lift hill category. However, when you give it for the lift hill size, you're going to give it probably about a 6, around there. Maybe a 6.5, because it's 165 feet, so it's right in between 160 feet and 170 feet. So for the lift hill, I'm going to probably give it a 6.5. For the drop, I'm probably going to give it around a 7. Maybe a 7.5. No idea really, but that's just how it's going to roll with that. So the speed, and Goliath is one of the fastest wooden roller coasters out there. As a matter of fact, it is actually the same exact speed apparently as Wildfire, which just opened this year, another RMC wooden roller coaster that opened this year for 2016 at Kolmarden in Sweden. So they are both the same exact speed at an astonishing 72 miles per hour. So that's pretty fast. It's 7 miles per hour, but the reason... did I just say 7 miles per hour? So anyway, so the speed is 72 miles per hour, so I'm going to be giving it a 7 for the rate, because Goliath is not really 75 miles per hour. That's the only way I would give it a 7.5. However, since it's 72, I'm still at the leaning point of a 7, which is what is going to get. Now duration. In Goliath, this is a very weak point of Goliath. Goliath's duration is about a minute. However, the lift hill adds on a good 30 seconds. So if you go from like leaving the station to the brake run at least, it's probably going to be about a minute 40. However, when you start traveling down that humongous drop and then go to the brake run, it's barely even a minute. It's a very short ride, and that's how I'm going to measure it from the lift hill to the brake run. So I'm going to probably give it about a 6, because I'm going to measure it from how long the lift hill takes till when you get back to the brake run. However, when you just go by the elements, it's a short ride. However, since the lift hill takes a while, I'm going to give it a 6 still. But it's overall the elements, it's a very short ride. And if you don't like short rides, really, this is not the ride for you, but what it packs in, it's fine. Now the drop. And now Goliath's drop is an 85-degree drop. That is the steepest drop on any wooden roller coaster out there. So that is 85 degrees, and I'm going to be giving this drop a 9. Because here's the thing. This drop doesn't feel like it lasts that long. It definitely is a big drop, and you go underground 15 feet more than the lift hill. However, the drop itself, I felt was over a little bit too quickly, but that's just my experience on it. In the back seat, though, this ride provides a great drop. So I'm going to still give it a 9, because it's a very steep and very fun drop, and intense of a drop too. But it isn't the best of the roller coaster drops I've been on, although it would seem like that it would be. Now the intensity. Now this is probably a very strong point of Goliath's roller coaster points. Now, Goliath is getting a 10 for intensity. This is one of the most intense roller coasters that I've ever ridden. Maybe just by my experience, but in the backseat it's a perfect score. But maybe like in other seats it feels a little bit like not as intense. Probably like a 9 for that point, but a 10 in the backseat without a doubt. Or at least from my experience. Goliath flies through the inversions. It goes everywhere. It's 72 miles per hour in the short but astonishing layout, and it is great. The intensity on this roller coaster is probably the strongest point of Goliath. It's crazy. I think they were aiming for the intensity for a good wooden roller coaster at Six Flags Great America. But anyway, Goliath is getting a 10 for intensity in my opinion. Crazy roller coaster. Now the inversions, and this is yet another category which in my opinion is getting a 10. Goliath has some very unique inversions. It has that crazy hang time 0G stall, which I really like. Those are probably some of my favorite inversions out there, maybe even my favorite inversion out there, especially on wooden roller coasters. They give you like a cooler feel, but it's like wood surrounding you. It's really cool. And then also you have that dive loop, which like makes it seem like you're diving into a pile of wood. It's really cool, and that's why I love Goliath's inversions. Another very, very strong point of Goliath. But the inversions are going to get a 10 because I feel that the Goliath's inversions are great. Now the airtime. Now here's the thing. This is probably another weak point of Goliath. However, there's this one point of Goliath which gives you probably some of the best ejector airtime that you will ever experience on a roller coaster. It's the ejector airtime hill when you're about to go inside the dive loop, kind of, I guess you can say, into that pile of wood as I mentioned. But that airtime is crazy, and just for that, we are going to be giving Goliath's airtime a 4. Since it really is an average airtime, that would be a couple moments of great airtime, that would have to be at least. But since I'm probably going to give it a 4 or 5, maybe even a 5, because that moment of airtime makes up of at least those points of airtime to be given to Goliath. It's great airtime, that moment, and that thing comes out of nowhere too. You come out of that major overbank and you fly over the ejector airtime hills. That ejector airtime hill, at least. It's crazy. I love that airtime moment. It's probably one of the most intense airtime moments that I've ever experienced. And just for that, it gets a 5, so it's average. Now the smoothness, and Goliath is from 2014. It isn't going to be a rough ride, which indeed it wasn't. I give Goliath a 10 for smoothness. It is a very smooth coaster. I would hope that it would stay like that for the years to come. At least 20 years, maybe. Maybe even more, if they're lucky, because it's like an RMC coaster. They should stay smooth for quite a long time. But the smoothest, I'm going to be giving it a 10, at least when I rode it, which was a little over a month ago now, but still, when I rode it, butter smooth, no rattles, no complaints about the tracking. Now the restraints, and now these are your average RMC lap bar restraints, and what I'm going to be giving for Goliath's category for this is a 9. Now these aren't the best restraints out there, however they are still good restraints, and it really depends for these lap bar restraints. It really depends how the operators kind of push it down on you, the people that work the trains. So it really just depends on your experience of the restraints. And they didn't really push it down that far on me, but so that's why I feel that Goliath's restraints aren't really that harsh. So that's why I love Goliath's restraints. They kind of remind me of El Toro's restraints from Great Adventures, but they're still good restraints, and they're also similar to Lightning Rod's restraints, probably every other RMC wooden roller coaster out there. But I've only been on Goliath and Lightning Rod, but they have completely similar restraints. But I'm going to be giving them a 9, because they aren't my favorite restraints out there, but they're still very comfortable and great restraints. Now, the theming. And Goliath is getting a 1. It's Six Flags. What more can you expect? And what more could you want? Because, like, really, Goliath's theming isn't really that high up. Of course, you have, like, kind of the, I guess the medieval times architecture of the outside entrance sign. But during the actual ride, no theming. During the station wait, no theming. That's why I'm going to be giving it a 1. It's Six Flags. You can't really expect much theming. Now, the overall score. Now, the overall score for Goliath, I'm going to be giving it a 9.5. This is a great wooden roller coaster, and I'm assuming it's probably like my number 3 wooden roller coaster, probably. So it's like my 3rd spot, right behind Lightning Rod and El Toro, probably. But I still consider Goliath a great wooden roller coaster, and it's still better than a lot of wooden roller coasters I've ridden. And if you are out at Six Flags Great America, or even in the area, and you have a chance to go here, Goliath is probably, in my opinion, the best roller coaster at Great America. Raging Bull being second, but Goliath hit up right away. This ride is great, and I hope you guys all enjoyed this review. Let me know what you thought of Goliath at Six Flags Great America, because I myself very much enjoyed this wooden roller coaster. So, but I want to hear your thoughts, because now it's been open for 2 years, I would assume that people in that area, or coaster enthusiasts that travel around, should have ridden it by now, because it is worth riding. It is a great wooden roller coaster. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time with another review and more segments of Coaster Mania.